Alright people, what is happening? Welcome back to another episode of the F1 2021 My Team series here on the channel. Today is the Canadian Grand Prix. I'm looking forward to getting into this race. This is probably my favourite circuit on the calendar to drive, and it's my first time doing it on a wheel and pedal setup. Of course, this is our first full season on F1 My Team with a wheel and pedal setup. So I'm looking forward to getting into this race. Hopefully you are looking forward to watching it. If you have not seen the last episode, make sure you go back and get up to date with the series so far. It's been a really tough season. You can see the vehicle comparison chart there. We are way ahead, but Red Bull are slowly catching up to us. And we are at that stage now where we've picked up some wear on the engine and the gearbox. Look at that, our gearbox is at 73% wear, even though we've only completed 5 out of the 6 races. So we are going to have to take a grid penalty for this race in Canada as we get a new gearbox. But with it being a circuit that I fancy myself at, you know, I feel like I've got some pace around Canada, I decided to take the grid penalty here rather than trying to run with a worn out gearbox. We're also going to take a new ICE and a new control electronics in the engine, which will not serve a grid penalty because they are part of the, you know, the, what are they called, like the specs that we do get at the start of the season. But with that new ICE, we're going to see an increase in power from the power unit. And with the grid penalty, you know, it's sort of like what Lewis Hamilton did in Brazil in real life when he took that grid penalty but put a new engine in, so he could just absolutely fly through the pack. So hopefully that works out the same for us today as we get into our lap here. Such a fun circuit to drive for me. I don't know what it is about this track. I actually really can't put my finger on it. But I just really love it. I love it coming downhill. This section right here, so fun. Very easy to lose the back end there, but very easy to carry a lot of speed through. You can push it right up to the wall as you come down the hill there as well. Getting into the first DRS point of the lap. You can see we have set a lap already here in Q1. We are currently P2. Lewis Hamilton, our teammate, in P1. We're just trying to improve on our lap. And as we push close to the wall there, you can see we're going nearly 7 tenths up on our previous lap. Purple in that middle sector, down into the hairpin now. A bit weird on the entrance to the hairpin there, but we get a nice exit out. 9 tenths up on the delta. Now if you think about this, our previous lap was good enough for P2. Never mind, you know, going 9 tenths quicker than it. So let's see as we come through the final chicane now, up to the wall of champions as they call it, on the right hand side there. We're going to be a whole second quicker than our previous lap, and that is the fastest lap of the session so far, a 1:06.8. Let's see if anyone can beat that in the 12-13 minutes that are left in this Q1 session. They can't. Lewis Hamilton though, our teammate, look how close the split times is. That's probably one of the closest we've seen between me and Lewis in terms of split times so far this season. That was only like 500ths of a second to separate us there. Of course, we are taking that 5-place grid penalty, so we do want to set the highest. Hopefully we can get a pole position here. You know, we want to be as high up on the grid as possible, so that 5-place grid penalty drop doesn't affect us too much. We're on the medium tyres here, looking to start the race on the mediums. Go purple in sector 1. Massive snap of oversteer through sector 1 there, as you've just seen. But we still went purple through sector 1, and we are 3 tenths up. Currently P3 with our banker lap in Q2 here. This is our second lap on these medium tyres, so these tyres will be a few laps old if we do get through in Q2 here and start the race on this set of tyres. Coming through now, as you see, we come around the corner, around the hairpin. Stomping on the throttle now, completely down the straight, hitting that DRS zone towards the hairpin. It is a very simple track, Canada, very, very simple and easy track, but it's very fast and it's just so fun. And we absolutely yeet it across across the curbs there. I didn't care if I took damage because I thought this is a good lap, and it was a good lap. Purple sector 1, purple sector 3, 1:07 flat. And that is going to be the fastest lap of the session by 4 tenths. Lewis Hamilton 4 tenths behind us there here in Q2. Yuki Tsunoda out in P13 for McLaren. That's a notable one. Guan Yu Zhou in P10 there through to Q3 for one of the first times this session. I feel like we always talk about Guan Yu Zhou here on this series, but he's in a Ferrari, so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do over the whole course of the season in that Ferrari. See his progress in that car, because not necessarily because we care about Guan Yu Zhou, but it's Ferrari, you know what I mean. Qualifying is complete anyway, and we're currently sat P3. There goes Lewis Hamilton taking the fastest lap of the session and is on provisional pole here in Canada. He did a 106.8, I think it was. Our best so far is a 107 flat. We are going 3/10 up on that delta though, as you can see in the top right. Purple through sector 1, 4/10 up at the moment. I'm not too sure what the time it is we need to beat. I think we'd need to go maybe 4/10 quicker than our fastest lap to get that pole position. As we come out to the hairpin now, we are 3/10 up in that delta, heading towards the DRS zone, and we open that rear wing down the straight towards the final chicane. We are going to yeet it across the chicane again once we do get there into the braking zone. Just completely jumping the curves like that, not taking no warnings or anything like that. 5/10 up as we cross the line. Is it enough for pole position? We'll have to wait and find out. I didn't care about taking any damage on the car. That's why we threw it across those curves, because I knew this was our final lap of the session. Even if we take damage, who cares? And it is pole position in Canada. What a lap that is from us. 1.5 tenths quicker than Lewis Hamilton. Fantastic lap. Fantastic lap from us there. Max Verstappen in P3. It's a front row lockout for me and Lewis Hamilton, but it's not, because we have a 5-place grid penalty. I've completely forgot about that. So we are in pole position, but we're going to take that 5-place grid penalty, but at least we got as far up the grid as possible. That means Lewis Hamilton starts on pole for the race. Let's get into the race and see how it turns out.
Hello and welcome to the Ile Notre Dame once again for what promises to be another incredible Canadian Grand Prix at a fiercely competitive circuit, where pole position can often be decided by less than 1/10 of a second. We'll be seeing top speeds of around 210 miles an hour here at the Circuit Gilles Villenueve, with around 2/3 of the lap taken at full throttle. High-speed chicanes spell potential danger, especially at the infamous Wall of Champions. And watch out for overtaking into the hairpin and the final chicane. Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Why don't we discuss Red Bull? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Eilert, Norris, Carlos Sainz, the owner driver. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Gasly, Leclerc, Joe and Daniel Ricciardo. Russell, Mick Schumacher, Jack Aitken and Fernando Alonso. Vettel, Lundgaard, Antonio Giovinazzi and Nicholas Latifi. Mazepin, Tigtum, Tsunoda and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. And now it's time to head down to the track.
There we go then, boys. The strategy for this race, it's going to be a 2-stop here in Canada, starting on the medium tyres, going into the mediums, and then finishing on the soft tyres, getting into this race now. As you can see, we don't normally go for a 2-stop strategy, but the tyre wear in Canada requires a 2-stop. Starting from P6 on the grid, we've got 2 soft runners in front, the 2 Mercedes, Sainz and Norris. It is lights out and away we go here in Canada. We're off to a great start compared to Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris. Up the inside, down into turn 1 of the inside of Lando Norris, round the outside for turn 2 through the chicane. Who's got the better line here? Is it me or Lando? Who's going to come out on top into the downhill braking zone here, into the downhill section? We're going to go onto the grass there to try and give Lando some space up the inside, but we are up into P4, up 2 places on the grid already. Now chasing down Callum Eilert and our teammate Lewis Hamilton, who has dropped a place. Remember, Lewis Hamilton was on that pole position. He has dropped a place to P2. Max Verstappen in the lead, Callum Eilert in the other Red Bull in P3. We are chasing down Callum Eilert here. Hopefully we can clear this guy as quickly as possible and chase down the 2 leaders of this race. Up the inside there, into the hairpin, late on the brakes. Can we make that move stick on Callum Eilert? Yes, we can. What a move that was from way downtown, late on the brakes, up the inside of Callum Eilert. And now we are down the straight here, chasing down our teammate Lewis Hamilton. Let's see a replay of that overtake. I didn't think we were going to make that stick. We went very, very late on the brakes, and up the inside, I thought Eilert would get a switch back through that the hairpin there. Thought I completely messed up the braking zone there. But here is a replay of the start with Lewis Hamilton. You see that first phase of the start, just how slow he was getting off the line. And then there goes Max Verstappen just straight up the outside into turn 1. He looked like Max had a little lock up into turn 1 there, but Lewis could not capitalise on that. And he's still in P2, as you can see. But as I always mention in these races, the key thing is, especially when you're chasing Lewis Hamilton, try and stay within that DRS range, and the DRS will pull you along through the lap. Verstappen with the fastest lap there, of course, because he is leading the race at 1:14 something, I think it was. But we have just set the fastest sector 3 of the lap. You can sometimes tell in the bottom left when the map lights up purple, it means you've set the fastest sector or the fastest time in that sector so far in the race. As you can see there with sector 1, as we go purple in sector 1, the map lights up purple in the bottom left. And we are chasing down Lewis Hamilton. 5/10 the gap to Lewis. We've made up 3/10 from the time we overtook Ilott to the time that we are now chasing Lewis. And you can just tell we do have the pace around Canada. That's why I like the circuit so much. We do have the pace around here to try and make an impact and to try and make those overtakes. And remember, we started from P6 on the grid already up into P3 and we haven't even finished the second lap of the race yet. So that's you know, we're in good stead sticking with the two leaders here, Verstappen and Hamilton, within 1 second both of them of us, as we head towards the end now of the lap. Crossing the line there, DRS will be activated now because it is the end of lap 2, as you can see there, and we do take the fastest lap of the race, faster than Max Verstappen's previous fastest lap by 2/10. So we're going 2/10 quicker than the leader. Of course, we can't really keep up this pace for the whole race because the tyres will fall off eventually. But there goes Lewis Hamilton. We had a little tiny look up the inside through the hairpin there, but I decided to stay behind him going through the hairpin because I knew we were about to get a massive launch anyway down this huge straight with DRS open and using our battery charge. Lewis does have DRS on Max though. We can't get close enough for an overtake there through the chicane, sorry, because Lewis of course has that DRS on Verstappen as well. Not ideal when you've got DRS for the guy in front of you have DRS as well. Look, we had a little shimmy, a little look at the inside there again through turn 1. That would have been a very ambitious move. We set another fastest lap of the race to start lap 4, just showing our pace. And it is only a matter of time, I think, before we get these guys corner cutting there, very close to the track limits, pushing it right to the edge. And now we have a look up the inside there. We almost went into the back of Lewis Hamilton. I didn't actually want to go for an overtake there. I wasn't trying it, but into the braking zone, we were about to smash into the back of him if we didn't swerve and go for that overtake, and it ended up being a great move, and it puts Lewis 4/10 behind us, and now we are chasing Verstappen. We end up closer to Verstappen than Lewis ends up close to us after we pass him down into the hairpin. We're going to have DRS again on Max Verstappen. Can we overtake Verstappen down this straight now and take the lead of the race here in Canada with only 4 laps in? We've made it up, and that grid penalty meant absolutely nothing. And who knows, with our current pace, who knows where we would have been if we started in pole position. Can we have a look up the inside there? No, we can't. We get very close to the back of Verstappen. There might have been a tiny bit of contact there as we head through the chicane, but Verstappen again, wheel to wheel into turn 1. He pushes us there onto the grass. We lose a bit of traction because of that. Through turn 2 now, Verstappen stays ahead. Lewis right on the tail of us as well. He's not going to let up. He's not going to give up this fight for the lead and for the top 2, or even not the lead, but just second place as well. Lewis is not going to give up anytime soon, but look how close we are to Verstappen. Can we go up the inside like we did on Lewis Hamilton? No, we can't. Verstappen cuts that off. We're into the DRS zone here. We're going to have a great launch out of that corner. DRS open, using our battery in the slipstream. Verstappen tries to defend a little up the inside there through the chicane. Who's going to come out on top here? It's us. What a move that is to overtake Verstappen. Not really a place I like to try and overtake there. Very tricky to go for a move, and it costs you a lot of time in a lap to go for a move there. But now Lewis battling with Verstappen. Us overtaking Max has put Max even closer to Lewis behind him. Now we can try and race ahead. Look at that, the gap in the top left, it says is 8/10 to Verstappen. Verstappen does have DRS on us down the straight, the first time on the straight that we don't have DRS, but Verstappen nowhere near close enough to make a move or anything like that. And there goes Hamilton as well, and them two are going to try and battle it out for a few laps now. Like I said though, imagine we started on pole position in this race. The pace that we're showing here, we would have been about 10 seconds ahead, and by the end of the race we probably would have been a whole lap ahead of literally everyone. But yeah, lap 6 out of 35, We've done about half of our stint for these first set of tyres. Now we go now we go red, sorry, in Sector 1, showing that those purple sector times aren't there anymore. The gap to Verstappen, though, we've just made up, was 1.2 seconds. It's now 2.2 seconds after one more lap. The pace that we are showing is insane. Hamilton can't get past Max. Jeff suggests us a new strategy, which is to go onto the soft tyres and then the mediums, whereas our current strategy is mediums and then softs. But I decided, while we've got this clear air in front of us, we're in P1, let me get on the soft tyres and try and set some quick laps and try and build that gap to the rest of the pack behind us, as if we did start from pole position in the race. So then we come into the pits there. Hamilton made up a bit of time on us on that previous lap, made up 4/10 on that previous lap to us, so that's when I knew, these tyres are falling off now. But Lewis comes into the pits on the same lap as us. Hopefully there's not a bit of a hold up here. 3 seconds on our pit stop, not good, but Lewis was 7 seconds behind as we came into the pits, so of course, it doesn't affect him, and he goes in for his pit stop. And Max Verstappen takes the fastest lap away from us there at 109.3. We come out of the pits though, still ahead of Verstappen, but Verstappen is 4.6 seconds behind us. I think before Verstappen pit, that gap was about 7 or 8 seconds. So he's made up a lot of time, Verstappen going with the undercut. But with us on fresh soft tyres here, what can we do to make an impact? And these are used soft tyres, you saw there's 6% wear. I don't know why we didn't have a fresh set of softs, because we didn't use them all in quali. So I don't know why we're not allowed to use a brand new set of soft tyres. If anyone knows the reason why on that, let me know in the comments. We take the fastest lap there back from Verstappen though, put me on soft tyres around Canada, and I'm going to take the quickest lap away from you. And yeah, here we go, lap 19, and we're already lapping people. Tweedledum and Tweedledee in the Haas cars there. Dan Ticktum, Nikita Mazepin. I tried to send it up the inside, into the hairpin there to try and get DRS from these guys, but we're not actually going to get it. But I'm going to tuck into Dan Ticktum's slipstream anyway, down this straight. Ticktum moves out the way, Mazepin moves out the way, right into the braking zone. Mazepin moves out the way. Those two are battling, and I kept checking back in the rear view because I thought those two were going to crash, because Dan Ticktum was going to send it on Mazepin into that hairpin. While we're doing that and lapping those guys, this is where our teammate is on the track, on the same lap as us. He's just coming around the hairpin as we reach the end of it, just showing how far ahead we are of Max and Lewis. But Lewis now opening that DRS rear wing down this straight. Can he finally get past Max Verstappen here? Verstappen on the soft tyres into the hairpin. Lewis on the medium tyres. Lewis opens the DRS wing again down into turn 1. He tries to pull out and make a move up the inside into turn 1. Lewis Hamilton, is he going to make it stick? Yes, he is. Through turn 2, he keeps the lead. He's up into P2 ahead of Max Verstappen. Great overtake there from our teammate Lewis Hamilton. Just as we were lapping people, Lewis makes an overtake up into P2. Lewis running the alternate strategy to me and Verstappen. He's going with that soft tyres, so at the final stint of the race. Me and Max, of course, with the soft tyres on the middle stint, and we will be going on to another set of mediums later on, but that will be a brand new set of mediums, so hopefully we will have some pace in those tyres. Something I do need though is this win with the fastest lap point. We need to make up as many points as we can on our teammate Lewis Hamilton, because it's so close at the top, yet so far at the top of the driver's standings. And coming towards the end of this stint now on the soft tyres, Lewis brought the gap down to 4 seconds, which was at 1.6 seconds. So I'm like, yeah, these tyres are done for. Let me box a lap earlier than Jeff did tell us to. We come into the pits there. Lewis goes past us to take the lead, but I know he's got another pit stop later on, so we don't really have to worry about that. 2 seconds on the pit stop there. That is some Red Bull Racing-esque pit stopping, making up for that 3-second pit stop earlier on in the race, which I was about to fire someone for that 3-second pit stop. I can't be having that. But then they must have heard the rumours that someone was getting sacked in the morning, and they've came back with a 2-second pit stop, which is what we absolutely love to see. Now coming out to the pits on these brand new fresh mediums, like I did say. Oh, look who we've met again. Tweedledum, Tweedledee, Dan Ticktum, get out the way, lad. I don't know where the blue flag is. There's the blue flag. So now Dan Ticktum's going to slow down and get out the way for us. And then we're going to go and overtake Tweedledee as well, Nikita Mazepin. But Lewis Hamilton 10 seconds ahead of us. Verstappen, he's gone in for his final pit stop of the race onto that last set of medium tyres. 9 seconds behind. Remember, at one point Verstappen was leading this race. Well, Verstappen was leading this race from lap 1. He overtook the guy on pole position into turn 1 and was leading the race in lap 1, and now he's 9.2 seconds behind the guy in second place. Verstappen absolutely slugging it. We go purple in sector 2 there. I thought we're not going to be able to improve on a fastest lap compared to what we did on those soft tyres, because of course soft tyre being a softer compound faster, but coming through the chicane now, pushing it right up against the wall again, the wall of champions there, bringing the gap down from 10 seconds to 9.3 seconds, making up 7/10 on Lewis Hamilton. There's a new fastest lap of the race for us as well on medium tyres. Did not expect to see that, but like I say, I'm pushing as hard as I can to try and get that extra point, because every point matters in this championship battle. It's going to come down right to the wire. I can already tell from how this season is going. Showing our pace again. There's a purple sector 1. We've just set the fastest lap of the race and we're still not letting up. We're still not trying to conserve tyres, you know, because Jeff will be like, oh yeah, good lap, but remember you need to go to the end of the race. And it's like, yeah, remember you need to shut your mouth, Jeff, because we're going for the fastest lap point here, Jeff. Yeah. So down to the hairpin again, we see another car in front of us. It's Christian Lundgaard in the Alpine. Hopefully he doesn't mess up our lap and he can get out the way for us nicely. But of course, we've got a straight here, so hopefully we can meet him before the end of the straight and he doesn't mess up our run. Teammate into the pits, Lewis Hamilton in for his final pit stop. There goes Lundgaard out the way. Purple sector 2 again, coming through the chicane, pushing it. We could have actually pushed it even harder there, but I didn't want to spin the car as we were on for a great lap. It's another fastest lap of the race, back to back fastest laps of the race, and these tyres are going to be absolutely dead if we keep this pace up. But you know, it's what we've got to do. You've got to do what you've got to do. Let's see where Lewis Hamilton comes out to the pit. So he is of course going to come out to the pits in P2 still, and it's going to be 8 seconds behind us. So with 8 laps left in this race, can Lewis make up a second a lap? Who knows? We'll have to wait and find out. But with our current pace, I don't think he'll be able to. But we do set red sectors now. George Russell out of the session there on lap 27. Let's see George Russell. He's racing against his teammate in front of him there, Mick Schumacher, and as he comes round turn 2, tries to go up into third gear, and there goes his engine failure for the Mercedes unit in that Williams car. Hopefully we don't see that this season, but you know, I think it might be inevitable. And as that happens, we set another fastest lap of the race. We went red in sector 1 and 2, we're purple in sector 3, and then we set the fastest lap. But there goes Lewis Hamilton, a 108.1. That's 5/10 quicker than our fastest lap. I don't know where Lewis has made up 5/10. He is on soft tyres, but 5/10, that is crazy. He must have got a big slipstream or something down that back straight. But Lewis Hamilton takes the fastest lap point. And now I'm a bit wounded. We're on for the race win as long as we keep it in one piece and get it across the line on lap 35. But I do want that fastest lap point. And here we go, boys. Purple in sector 2, green in sector 1. Are we on for the fastest lap point? It's going to be a miracle to try and get that point back off Lewis. The fact he went 5/10 quicker than us is absolutely insane. Because, you know, how do you even make up 5/10 in a lap? That's definitely got to be a slipstream. There's no way Lewis has made up 5/10. We almost fly into the wall of champions there, and I think that's why it's called the wall of champions, because champions push right up there. And look at that, we go green in sector 3. We set another fastest lap for ourselves, but it's still not good enough for the fastest lap of the race. It's still 2/10 slower than the lap that Lewis Hamilton did, which was a 108.1. I really pushed everything I had there, gave everything I had to get that 108.3, but it just wasn't good enough. You know, it just wasn't good enough to beat Lewis Hamilton without a tow. I mean, maybe he did actually set that, because if we can do a 108.3 without a slipstream, maybe Lewis can do a 108.1 without a slipstream. But coming through that chicane now, we've got another few cars to lap in front of us. We get a little slipstream from Fernando Alonso down to the hairpin. Not sure how much that hairpin did help us. On the Delta, we are 2/10 slower overall to our previous lap, but Guan Yu Zhou in front of us, the man I keep mentioning him in this series so far. huge slipstream all the way down the straight there. We're up to 217 miles an hour down into the chicane. This is our chance if we do want to take it here, pushing it right up to the track limits of that curb, hitting the DRS zone, using all of our battery deployments, and across the line. It's the fastest lap of the race, purple sector 3 by 4/10 from our previous lap. It's a 107.8. That is insane, 3/10 quicker than that Lewis Hamilton fastest lap on the soft tyres that we did just take that point away from. Absolutely insane to get that slipstream from Guan Yu Zhou, of all people, the man I keep monitoring this whole season. Maybe he's been watching the season, you know, maybe he's been watching the episode so far in season 4 and thought, yeah, he's a nice guy and he's looking out for me. But there's Guan Yu Zhou out of the session. Just talking about Guan Yu Zhou and wanting to do well at Ferrari. There he is out of the session. Engine failure for the Chinese driver there. It's unfortunate, but he is out of the race. Guan Yu Zhou, unlucky mate. I'm sure you'll bounce back later in the season. But that is the final lap of the race. You can see we've overtook Guan Yu Zhou there at the side of the track, down into the chicane now, keeping it nice and steady, completely coming off the throttle there. And we cross the line, boys. It's a race win in Canada.
Inshallah.
That's a race win and your second race win in a row. Fantastic job.
Second race win in a row, and I believe that is 3 podiums in a row here in Canada. Season 1 we finished 3rd here, and then season 2 and 3 I believe we won both years. So that is a 3rd win in a row in Canada, but a 2nd win in a row in the season. We keep that fastest lap point as well, 26 points. You love to see it. It's actually a perfect race weekend. We get the race win, fastest lap points, and we got pole position in qualifying. Admittedly, we didn't start there with the grid penalty, but it still counts. We got pole position, you know. But a perfect weekend in Canada. I expected nothing less, to be honest, coming into this, because like I say, this is my favourite circuit to drive. If you give me one circuit where I'm going to make up points, or I'd fancy myself to make up points on, you know, a title contender, is that the word, contender? Trying to make up points on Lewis Hamilton, it would have been Canada. I would have said, you know, Canada is the place we will make up points on Lewis. We've got a good run of races coming as well. France next up, notoriously good for me. I did win in France last time out, I think, was it? Or it might have been the season before. I think we get into that later on, but let's go back to Canada anyway. Wow, we checked this out. You can see there, 3 times quicker on that fastest lap. What a lap that was from us, yeah, to get that. The 2 Red Bulls behind us, then the 2 Mercs. Pierre Gasly in P7 there in the AlphaTauri. George Russell, of course, and Guan Yu Zhou retiring from the race. Yuki Tsunoda down in P14, up from P21 on the grid. It's a good drive from Yuki Tsunoda. Must have took a grid penalty with some sort of engine replacement, something like that. Checking the standings now. The gap to Lewis Hamilton, 14 points. Hopefully in France next time out we can get another race win and then close that gap even further. We'll have to stay tuned for the next episode to see that one. As for the constructors standings, we are 120 points ahead of Red Bull. I think it's going to get to a point where we've not even done half the races in the season and we've won the constructors standings already. We've got 41 million in the bank now because we don't have anything to buy. So I just went ahead and upgraded the marketing department. I don't even know if it'll make a difference at this point. We don't need to upgrade any other facilities because our R&D trees are maxed out. So we advance now to the French Grand Prix. Stay tuned for the next episode for this one. I do like this circuit as well. It's another one that I'm a big fan of. First time driving it on wheel and pedals as well. And checking the previous seasons now, you can see last time out we did finish P3 actually in Canada and in France last season. But in season 2, if we flick to that now, we did finish P1 and P1 in Canada and France back to back. So can we see a repeat of last season? Season 2 actually. Can we repeat season 2? Because we won in Baku, then won in Canada, and then France is next up. Can we get the 3-peat like we did in season 2? You'll have to wait and find out, boys, in that next episode. If you did enjoy this one, though, like, comment, share, and subscribe. You know the vibes. I'll catch us next time. Take it easy.